Good morning, happy Tuesday. I found this reading in one of the many books I've acquired over the years, Eastern Thought for Western Mind, Insight on Raja Yoga Meditation. Some people think that yoga is all about these crazy contortionist poses we go into and how healthy we can look and how flexible we are and getting skinnier, but it's actually about stilling the fluctuations of the mind. It's that simple. Like, there's a stack of books on your bedside table, those are your thoughts, and you've put them away on the shelf. That's kind of the main whole point of yoga. And I love this one. This particular piece is about motivation. This is really hard, especially if you know that you are one of those people that gets overwhelmed by being required to do new things. So meditation, in the form of reflection and examination, helps me to create and maintain my motivation. For newness and clarity of perception, ideals, and aims, we need to relax our grip on old habits. We talk about the samskaras often. And old ways of thinking and seeing, and thus create a space for something new and inspirational. Motivation is an inner positive energy, a combination of enthusiasm and clear perception. This enables us to accomplish a task. Motivation keeps us determined and on course. Otherwise, it's easier to be distracted by problems, novelties, laziness. I'm sure there's a million things you could be distracted by in your own home. What does motivation do? It moves us from one reality to another. From where I am to where I wish to be. Motivation is sustained when a sense of purpose, identity, and contribution is being fulfilled. When we want to recreate our motivation, we need to examine the following. What do I want? What do I wish for? And you could even take a piece of paper out. What do I value? What do I need? What do I enjoy? What do I understand? And especially, what do I love? When we sit down and reflect on the answers to these questions, they become the basis for activating new insights and tasks, and for reactivating the insight and tasks, which I've forgotten to pay proper attention to and have not developed properly. So I struggle with the idea that I go into one room to do one task or activity, and then it leads to another, leads to another. It's like dominoes, and before you know it, you've completely forgotten why you came in that room, what was the task. Those are our thoughts. It's like pulling a thread on a sweater. It just leads to another row. When we sit down and reflect on the answers to these questions, they become the basis for activating new insights and tasks and reactivating those tasks and insights, which I've forgotten to pay proper attention to and have not developed properly. Throughout life, it is necessary from time to time to stand back, become silent, and redefine, reevaluate, and experiment over and over with what we know and what we think we know. It is a simple exercise which, if done sincerely, stimulates newness in our thoughts and in our motivational pattern. Therefore, to change or widen my pattern, I need to get out a piece of paper, redefine, re-examine, reorientate, and relearn. This newness, creativity, and quality are generated when we step back and we come out of our path and our pattern. Think about if you had a garden and you kept stepping in the same spot over and over. There's a groove dug in that garden. You need to every so often take the rake, kind of rake that groove and start again, and maybe something new will pop out of it. Maybe I'll quickly read this. Successful motivation depends on having a clear aim. How much do I believe in my aim? Faith in my aim determines the quality of effort and willingness to meet this challenge. There will be successful renewal of motivation when I realize there's always the opportunity to exercise the power of choice, so nothing is written in stone. Another question which helps in sustaining motivation is, what is really more important to me, the product or the process? Think about a road trip. Half of the success of your road trip would be that journey and not where you're actually going. Another question which helps us sustain, what is really more important? Okay, to be product-oriented tends to over-focus on the result with not enough care or attention to the underlying process needed to arrive at that result. Think about cooking with a child, a grandchild. The whole goal was not just to make the cookies. It was to have this amazing experience with your children and your grandchildren. The quick fix method, the success in 7 days formula that especially North America we yearn for, does not really work, at least not permanently. If we look at nature, we see that her beauty and her strength are the combined result of time and process. If you walk in the forest regularly, you will see the unveiling, the opening of spring. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, gradual, and then suddenly you turn around and the tree is fully open. The trilliums are fully out. And we've gone from brown to green, but it was a process. For example, a huge oak tree, the roses in the garden or the change in the seasons don't happen instantly. There's always space and time given for a particular process to function. For a process to happen effectively, I need to prioritize, that is, to make the best use of my time, energy, and resources. And I'll quickly read the last little bit. Hopefully you're lying down and relaxing. To prioritize, I also need to recognize and refuse clever excuses, like there's no time, and create a timetable that's realistic and functional. As I prioritize my values, and the type of motivation I have becomes clearer. It's my motivation materialistic or spiritual? And you might ask yourself about your yoga practice too. The results of one and the other are different. You may have started the process for one reason and it slowly evolves to another reason. Materialistic motivation is based on ambition, competition, and a desire for position. Often we believe we cannot succeed without those, and to think and act on the basis of these values. Often the results include conflict, fear, attachment, jealousy, possessiveness, and over-identification of the self with a role, a position that makes us feel threatened by someone that's more talented or praised. For example, when motivation is materialistic, there's always the fear of loss. This is a very Western thing. In turn, creates uneasiness, stress, and worry. Spiritual motivation is based on enthusiasm for a task rather than blind ambition, cooperation with the uniqueness of others rather than being in competition with those differences. Finally, the feeling to serve through whatever talent, position, or role I have to serve a need other than exploit a need is quality service. We're almost done here. The results of spiritual motivation are respect, harmony, individual and collective well-being, a sense of purpose, and the feeling of a deep fulfilling in one's being. Spiritual motives such as cooperation, sharing, caring, integrity, and respect create quality in the aim, the task, and the methodology we use. Meditation in the form of reflection always helps me to re-examine and redefine my aims, my processes, and the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. So, motivation, think about it in your practice, in every breath you take, and maybe other activities in your life. So we're going to come back to the animal cards. We haven't done this in a while. Let's see if we're inspired. I saw a partridge crossing the road when I was on my way to trails yesterday. Oh my gosh! And I've never seen one in person. So today we have the badger. Often it's mocked, especially the honey badger. It's considered aggressive and angry. Its key word is perseverance. Dig in and see it through to completion. Interesting. I think that totally aligns with what we just read. And let's find it. Don't give up easily. I can't believe how aligned that is to perseverance and motivation. Don't give up easily. You're going to have to be more patient and more persistent than you've ever been. The result is the answer isn't that far away. You've just got to hang in there and stay with it. Too often in the past, and this happens in poses, if there's discomfort in the body, it's easy to give up. If there's discomfort in the meditation, it's easy to give up. Too often in the past, you've tended to give up too easily or try shortcuts through relationships, careers, and your spiritual growth. It's important enough for you to ask the question. Then it's just as important for you to remain steady in your pursuit. It doesn't matter if you've got a few inches or several miles to go. Take your time and no need to hurry. Keep your sights on the objective. And you've got to put your feelings, you'll have to put your feelings and any ambivalence aside for the time. Indeed, you might even meet some resistance, but don't give up. You really are almost there. Before getting there, first live in the present. It's the only form you can truly proceed on your journey to get where you're headed. Self-reliance, determination, assertiveness, and willingness. I think it's amazing how that aligns with what we just read. So, having said that, let's do, there are no badger poses that I know of. We're going to do our normal practice, but I want to work on holding things in discomfort, especially when it involves our core. So I think we will do our normal practice, and I will come back to the dreaded plank. Slowly lower the back down. Oh, and by the way, I absolutely love my yellow necklace that Franca gave me.
Yellow is the color of loyalty and friendship. Arms by your side, palms turned up. Just let the body let go. I'm not even asking you to press your back on the floor. I just want you to wait for your body to let go. There's a belief that because of the fascia running underneath our skin, holding all the muscles and bones and tendons together, it needs up to 5 minutes to let go in any pose. And that's when we use props to help open the chest. We often expect immediate results in this culture, so be patient with your body. Let's take 5 breaths. I want you to do it, I will not talk. I'll do it silently in my head. When you think you've done your 5 breaths, just gently rock side to side, not a wide windshield wiper, but just enough to start waking up the hips and the body's twisting softly like a pepper grinder. And maybe you instinctively walk your feet wider to get a deeper exploration of your hips. And then coming back to center, take the soles of your feet together. Blades are still on the floor, knees fall wide, coming into reclined goddess, so you can either have soft arms, low 45 degrees, T, or cactus. Once more, 5 breaths, waiting patiently for the process of opening the front lines of the body. Maybe you can feel the pads of your toes pressing into each other. I feel the resistance in my hip flexors and my inner thighs. 5 breaths. When you've reached 5 breaths, you're closing the legs, mindfully drawing knees to chest. And let's take 5 breaths here. Double leg wind relieving pose without moving. Flex the feet, drawing thighs in. Hands are on the knees or behind the thighs, whatever works better in your body. 5 breaths. Close your eyes. Feel yourself get heavy in this confined position. Help your knees twist to the left, double leg spinal twist. Again, 5 breaths. I'm going to close my eyes and let gravity do the work inside my body. Help yourself come to center. Pause, take a breath, no hands. Back body presses into the floor. And we're going to take the knees to the floor on the right. Left shoulder heavy, 5 breaths, double leg spinal twist. Your face can be to the ceiling or turn and look to the left. On your 5th breath, come back to center. Let's draw right leg in. And your choice, you can keep left knee bent, or I'm going to slide the left leg straight. Let's take 5 breaths here. Feet are softly flexed. Left hand takes right knee over, single leg spinal twist. Your left hand can rest on your knee or come to a T, 5 breaths. And I'm gonna stick my blocks under that knee so it's a more effortless experience. Back to center, feet on the mat, knees are bent, 1 breath. Take a moment to recalibrate the hips and lower back on your mat. Right leg extends, left leg in, 5 breaths. And in these poses, as we change the shape of our body, I want you to feel the process of breath leading your body more deeply into each shape. So that the process to come to the final version of shape is really a lot more important than what it looks like. Finally, I'm going to take my blocks, final version of it, my blocks to the right, guide my left knee to that stack of blocks. So now my hips are stacked. On your choice, arms to a T or right hand helping to rest on that stack of knees, 5 breaths. And then back to center, knees to chest, pause, 1 breath. Lower back presses just by gravity into the back of the floor. Help the knees fall wide. My hands are going to hold the knees, and we're going to take 5 breaths here. Just let gravity open your inner thighs. And actually, you might even choose, I'm going to choose extended leg wide. 5 breaths. Notice how we talked about fleeing from the discomfort, perseverance through, quite often in yoga we say you have to go through the yuck to get to the yum. A lotus flower can only grow in awful muddy conditions. So think of that discomfort when you want to flee out of a pose that's uncomfortable. Okay, I got to my 5 breaths. Now I'm going to set up for happy baby. I'm going to do the setup for 5 breaths, not worrying about grabbing my feet, and let's see if that helps me grab my feet better. 5 breaths. And finally, I'll take the soles of my feet together. Can we stay 5 breaths here? This is definitely uncomfortable for me. 5 breaths. I'm going to release my feet to the mat, come once more to recline goddess. Arms to a T or cactus, 5 breaths. Close your legs, pause for 1 breath, back in this neutral, constructive rest pose. And last variation, right foot crosses onto left knee, right knee opens. And no hands, we're doing thread the needle, no hands. Left thigh comes towards me, right knee away, and this is the ultimate discomfort for me, 5 breaths. Release. Both feet come back to constructive rest. 1 breath. Switch. Left foot flexes onto right knee. You're going to open that left knee away to help stretch the left hip. Option to lift the right knee towards you, 5 breaths. Feet are flexed. Release that foot, knees to chest, no hands, 5 breaths, and then we're coming out of this position. Actually, you can stay here or on your side, 2 breaths. Let's do 2 breaths. And using that front hand to help yourself come up gently. You know what's next, your version that makes you happy of either puppy, child's pose, or extended child's pose. I'm going to take it easy and take blocks. I'm going to go between tucking my toes and not tucking my toes. 5 breaths. And when you've had enough, we're going to come out of that. So, how can we take cat-cow, which is part of a regular practice, and slow it down? Hands under the shoulders. And I'm going to do, maybe we'll do 5 cat-cows. So inhale up, exhale cat. That's 1. Inhale 2, cow, looking up. Exhale. Cat. Next one, inhale cow, that's 3. Exhale. Inhale 4. Exhale. Inhale 5. Exhale. And undo wherever you're at. Once more, a quickie extended child's pose. So, something that we've been struggling with in this class is the discomfort in our feet. And think of that, that's actually the base of our whole body. So let's address that. I'm gonna try to do 5 breaths in Thunderbolt with my feet untucked, and then we'll switch tucked. If it's really excruciating, it's not available to you, you're doing whatever variation works for you. The stillness is what's important. 5 breaths. Now I'm going to switch my body into a position for me that's more discomfort. Tucked toes, really important for stretching the soles of our feet and stimulating the pineal gland, part of our brain. Shoulders back, 5 breaths here, eyes open or closed. When you're finished your 5 breaths of toes tucked, we're going to tap it out. So, I said we would do the plank, even though I don't want it. We're going to do the plank for 5 breaths, not a minute, and then we're going to do a half plank for 5 minutes. You're going to see what you prefer. I'm in tabletop. I'm going to step back, high plank, shifting weight equally distributed over wrists and toes, 5 breaths. Head in line with your spine. And what does it feel like when you feel like you want to give up, maybe in this pose? Knees down. Choose a resting pose, whatever variation of child's pose serves you. And now the dreaded half plank. Let's do this. Woo! Coming into Sphinx. Step back, half plank, 5 breaths. The weight is resting on my forearms and my toe pads. Keep coring in if it's too much. And when you've had enough, extended child's pose. finish our practice, I'm gonna do one last physical thing before we come to our reading. I'm gonna come on my back, coming into bridge, and you have a choice. I might actually use the blocks today. We used to do this in class together. Knees are bent, arms by your side, palms turned up. Press the feet into the floor, lift the bum. You have a choice. Actually, let's do 5 breaths, no blocks. And then we'll do it with blocks. Palms press down, feet press down. Squeeze the bum to center. Watch the knees don't splay. 5 breaths. Now your choice. Stay here 5 more breaths using muscular effort, or I'm going to take 1 or 2 blocks under my back. You can stay with knees bent, or, oh my, slide the legs out, arms to a T, 5 breaths. And you can even bring the arms behind you if that feels better. If it's hurting your lower back, bend the feet to the mat. When you're done your 5 breaths, I'm going to get rid of 1 block. As long as we're all arriving on 1 block, we're legs up the wall, 5 breaths. I feel bad we haven't done this in a while. Legs are dangling, 5 breaths. Slowly lower the feet. And your choice, you can stay where you are or come back up to seated.
Today's final reading will definitely be a little shorter. We did a lot of reading earlier. Oh, I like this one. I love and accept myself. Your self-image is made up of your judgments. It's not the real you. Sit for 10 minutes with this question. What is it like to be me when I'm not judging myself? I always think, what would it look like if you had to write your own obituary? It wouldn't be sad, it wouldn't be negative, it wouldn't be self-deprecating. It would be only the best things that people see in you. Can you do that? Thank you so much for your effort and coming along with this slower practice today, whether you intended or not. The good in me sees the good in you. Namaste.